Hey everybody, in this video I am going to talk about the biggest books that are currently on my TBR. This is a video that I have done before a couple of times, but I think the most recent one was about a year ago. So I thought it was time for another updated version and yeah, show you some of the biggest books that are currently on my TBR that I still have not read yet. I don't know why, but somehow I really like to talk about these big books and I love to watch videos about big books because somehow the look of them is just, I don't know, I really like them. I love the way big books look and I always love it when I finish one and it just feels so nice. You feel so accomplished. I say that, but at the same time, I don't think I have finished any big books in the past year. So like some of these books are repeats of the previous video because yeah, I still have not read them yet. But there are also quite a lot of new additions to this list because somehow I don't read the big books, but I buy them, which is not logical at all. And yeah, I really do need to make an effort to read more big books. But as usual, I've said that previously in other videos, somehow they really intimidate me. I know they shouldn't. I know I shouldn't be too scared of them and that they're just like, they're books like any other. Maybe they take a little bit longer to finish. But yeah, until I have, yeah, sort of overcome that obstacle, I'm still with a TBR of some very big books. Yeah, I still have the TBR left. And I'm just going to show you again the biggest books that are currently on my TBR because I do love, again, sort of like those big books, those chunky books. They're just, oh, I don't know how I love them. They just make me very happy. It is a weird feeling, but maybe if you are watching this video, you can relate. I don't know. I think it's just time to start with this video and yeah, show you them, like my biggest books on my TBR. The first one on this list is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. This is historical fiction and it's quite weird because it is about a man who travels back into time to prevent the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And I'm sure there are many other things that are happening because this book is a big one. I just checked and it is 740 pages long. That is a long book. It is a big one. It's, yeah, I don't know, like, wow, there's probably going to be so much more to the story apart from that. Also, like, whenever I read the title 11/22/63, I'm always like, it feels wrong to me because to me it's the wrong way of putting down a date. And it also really reminds me of that scene of Emily in Paris where she's like, you are doing the dates the wrong way, and then the waiter, the Paris waiter, is like, no, you are doing the dates the wrong way. And I can so relate to that because as a European, I can relate to like the Parisians when it comes to that. But now this title always reminds me of Emily in Paris. Like somehow I have connected the two and I cannot separate them. Anyway, this book has been on my TBR, I think not a year yet because I didn't have it in my previous biggest book on my TBR video yet. I bought it because I had read Misery by Stephen King and this one was recommended to me as being a very good one. And since I do love historical fiction and sort of like twists on history, because I feel like this book is going to do that. It sounds very interesting to me. So again, you know, I should read it. That's going to be the case with all of the books on this list. I should read it. I want to read it, but it hasn't happened yet. But it is a big one. It is definitely like a big book, a long story, but you know, I am very excited about that. For the next book, I have Little Women by Louise May Alcott. This is maybe a little bit of cheating because originally these were two books and very often they are still two books. It's like Little Women and then it's the second part is called Good Wives, but of course the Little Women title is probably more well known. And this bundle has like the entire story under the title Little Women. So that is why it's very big, but yes, my god, it is very big. I'll have to check the page number. This one is, whoa. Oh, it's actually really satisfying because it's 777 pages. That is nice. I do like it when books do have like such a satisfying number of pages. But yeah, that is a big one. And of course, it is like a smaller book. Like it's not the full length of a normal, well, it's not a paperback, but like a normal paperback would have. And if I'm looking at it, like the typing is not, like the font is not that small, so I feel like this big book will probably be a bit faster to read than some of the other books on this list. Also, in case you don't know, Little Women is the story about four sisters who have very different ideas and aspirations in life in the 18th century. You probably know it because of the very successful movie adaptation of last year, which I've also watched and I really enjoyed, and also the one from 1995 5 or earlier. One from the 1990s that I've also watched and actually liked even more than the 2019 adaptation, but yeah, that's an whole other story. Fact is that I do know the story of Little Women, I do know what is going to happen, so I am a bit spoiled for that because I have watched the movies. But still, I really want to read the book because I love the movie so much and I love the story and how it just focuses on 4 sisters and their lives and their stories. So it's very exciting to me, and also the cover of this is just absolutely stunning. I love it. That is why I bought this edition, because it's so big, but also because it has this gorgeous like illustrations and details, and I'm also a sucker for very beautiful covers. For the next book I have one that I bought quite recently, and that is The Eight Life by Nino Haratishvili, and I'm probably not pronouncing that last name correctly. I think it's Russian. Pretty sure it's Russian because the story is actually about a Russian family and it takes place over around 100 years. And it's about this Russian family that has this secret recipe for hot chocolate that is very, very good, but also leaves its drinker somehow cursed. So that sounds like such a weird but such a fun story to me. I do love it when books take place over such a long time, when there's this sort of weird, mysterious element to it. But this book again is massive. It is so big. It is, again, let me see the pages. 934 pages. That is a lot. Wow, that is indeed something. But also I love the spine of this book. It looks gorgeous on my shelves, like the illustrations, and oh, that's also the thing. Like big books, I love big spines. It's just so pretty. I bought it sort of recently, like in hindsight, maybe not that recently. It's almost 2 months ago now. I bought it at the bookstore back when bookstores were still open. Like that feels like a long time ago now. But the story spoke to me, but also the cover because it's so pretty again, and just the look of this very big book. That is just, again, I really love the look of it, even though I already have so many books that are very big that I still haven't read yet. But this is again a story that really excites me because of course otherwise I would not have bought it. But yeah, still need to read it. But it is big, it is heavy, it is, I think, maybe the biggest book that is currently on my TBR. Yeah, I think so, probably. So yeah, again, one that I should read, but when it's going to happen, who knows. Also, the font is so small. Like, just take a look at it. The font is tiny. Oh my god, this is going to take a long time, this book. So yeah, I should be prepared for that. Then I have a book that has been on these types of lists of mine and like in these types of videos many times before, but I'm going to show it to you again because I still have not read it yet, and that is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, which is about a man named Quote who is telling his life story, and yeah, it is basically about him having a lot of adventures. There's magic, there is like, he goes to this special magic school, there's so much more to it. It is a type of story that is hard to explain and something that you probably should just experience, and I have done so for the first book, which is The Name of the Winds, and I really enjoyed that. And this is the second book, which I do want to read, but the thing is that the third book is like kind of a Game of Thrones story where the book is just not published and it has been ages since the release of the second book, and that is still the reason that is holding me back from not reading this one, because I just don't want to get too invested in a series when I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to finish it. With these types of book series where the last one is never published, I always get scared that it's just never going to happen, just as with, well, Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire. Is it ever going to happen? Who knows? But I do still want to read it. Like, it's still sort of like active on my TBR. I don't like unhaul it or anything. So I will read it at some point, maybe if we ever hear something about the third book. If that's ever going to happen, who knows. But it is a big one, and also it's quite dense, like the pages are quite thin, so it's even bigger than it looks. And the page count is 993 pages. So yeah, it's actually bigger than the previous one, so that one is not the biggest unread book on my shelves. It's probably this one, because it's so dense and so heavy. Like, you wouldn't expect it, but it's heavy to hold. Like, it's quite a big one. And I will read it at some point, but I don't have any immediate plans to do so, because maybe I should spend some of my reading energy on book series or books that I can actually finish. And with this one, it's just not the case yet. But it's still my TBR, and maybe you will see it next year again in one of these videos. And the year after that, maybe it will just be a tradition that this one will be like these types of TBR videos forever. Who knows? Hopefully the third book will be published, because that would be nice. So, you know, Maybe sometime, I don't know. The next one has also been in previous videos, but that is Lady of Hay by Barbara Erskine. This is a book that is about a journalist named Jo, and it's also about a woman who lives in medieval times in England called Matilda. Their stories intertwine, and Jo finds out that she somehow has a connection to this woman of so many years ago. Yeah, again, this one has been in multiple videos before. I bought it in London a couple of years ago, like not even my most recent London trip, and my most recent London trip has been a while because of course, you know, traveling hasn't been much of an option lately. But yeah, this is also a big one. Again, let me find the page count. I should really be better prepared for these kinds of things, but it is 761 pages. So it's not as big as the previous two, but still it is quite chunky, like it's still a big beast of a book. And every time that I hold this book up in videos, I get curious about it, I get intrigued by the premise, and every time I don't read it. But you know, I do love to still have it on this sort of big books list. And I do love that it is a story that I just don't know much about. Like, I've never heard anybody talk about this book. I'm sure there are people who talk about it, but I just have never read a review about it or heard a review about it. And I want to keep it that way because I just want to be sort of in the dark with this book, that I don't know too much, and then I don't know, I think that's actually nice to have a book that I don't know that much about. But it's going to happen. Maybe I should make it a priority of this year, because this is one that has also been on my TBR for so long, but this is not one in a book series where the next book hasn't been published yet. So I don't really have that excuse in this case. So yeah, I should put it on like a monthly TBR sometime soon. Maybe I will do that, maybe not, but I should do it probably. And then for the final book of this video, I also have one that you might be able to guess, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a standalone high fantasy book that I don't know anything about plot-wise. I know that it's about a queendom and about a queen, and I think there's a dragon somewhere and many other things. And this one is so big, like it has a reputation of being such a very big book. And I also have like the big paperback version, like not the small one or like the hardback. I have like the big paperback version, which means that I can basically use this book for a workout if I wanted to. You know what? This year is going to be the year that I read it. With this one, I have just decided right now. There are many people who love Priory, and I haven't read it yet. I have read the other books by Samantha Shannon, or at least some of the other books. The Bone Season series, and I really enjoyed that, so that holds good promises for this one. And I do really hope I will enjoy it, and I do hope that well, you know, I've decided I am going to read it this year. You can hold me accountable. If I do a video like this next year and I still have not read it yet, you can shame me, you can judge me for that. So yeah, that's what this video is for, basically, to hold me accountable. Will it work? Who knows? But at the moment of filming this, I am determined. But maybe I will look back at it and laugh at myself, who knows? That's usually the case with these kinds of videos. Like, I just looked back at the one of last year and laughed at myself. But the intention is there. And you know, you never know, you know? I want this one to be one that I read this year. So fingers crossed that it will happen. Wish me luck. Yes, that was it for some very big books on my TBR. And I always, again, really love to film these kinds of videos. They make me really excited to actually read them. Should probably make it happen again, which is the case with all my TBR videos. But for now, I really do hope that you enjoyed this video and that you liked it. You can always leave it a comment or a thumbs up or share it or whatever. As always, I would really appreciate that. And then hopefully I will see you again very soon in one of my next videos. Bye!